Right on. Oop. We're there.
We are there.
Let me just send it out to some affiliated groups. Let's see. Yeah, there's another one. This one, that one. It feels like Saturday morning, but it's Friday morning.
It's Blur's Day, Todd.
Blur's Day. All right, that looks cool. Very cool. Look at that. That's very cool. Got 10 people in the house. Hey, Stephanie Lynn. We're continuing our broadcast from West Sedona with our co-collaborators, Vibrational Empowerment Network, their studios, Jade, Stephen, Ty. We're just going to keep doing it. So this morning, what we thought we'd do is kind of give a little background on how this all started and what the crew over at Vibrational Empowerment Network has gotten into. They got several irons in the fire. They're rooted over here in West Sedona. And for anyone that knows anything about Sedona, to come over here with no car, just a download, which we're going to talk about, to change everything in your life and just to pack your stuff up and come and get commercial space in Sedona where everything is a little bit inflated and survive and make it is in and of itself a hell of a feat. So, and that's the story behind these folks. There is some, Ty was here for a few years. Jade came over with another partner of his, and then other people just started to attract like magnets. But so, for those of you who don't know, this is my brother, Jade Lyons. He was born on Lionsgate, and he's basically a lion. We're both projectors.
And you turned into a lion the other day, too. So,
I did. I turned into a lion. That's
I
true.
apologize if I had any influence on that.
That's okay. I think me and my wife and you had a etherical triad, and that's what happened. I picked up your code.
You had all the fun, and I got the...
Yeah, right. So it would have been 2 years ago.
Almost to the day.
Almost to the day. That's right. 2 years ago, almost to the day. That's kind of freaky. Yeah.
Yeah.
I was leaving Sedona after 6 weeks. My first trip here, 6 weeks of initiation, and Jade and one of his partners were friends. We're hanging out with a mutual friend, Chikara Tasha. And anyway, they came to a little event we had over at the yoga studio, and then we went over next door here to the Sedona Bar and Grill and just chilled out with a bunch of people. But that was his first night in Sedona and my last night of my first trip, my 6-week trip.
Yeah, we actually rolled into Sedona, met up with Shikara right away, and the first thing we went to was that event at Satnam, and that was, so we didn't even see any of the sights, other than when we just drove in.
Wow.
And it was just literally, we just flowed in, and and there's this group, and it was like, okay, cool, and it was just felt like home, and it was like you were there. We had that immediate connection, and just like just really vibed out that night. Had a lot of really powerful conversations, and there was just this knowing that first night that we were going to be collaborating in the future.
Yeah, true.
And there was no question about what it was going to be or what it would look like. It was just this understanding and knowing that there would be things progressing in the future.
Yeah, that's true. And neither one of us had a pot to piss in.
No.
Yeah, so, that's pretty crazy. So one of the first things you told me, I've always loved Chicago. I lived there for a little bit, and you're from Chicago.
Mm-hmm.
One of the first things you told me was, and again, this is two people that had just met, and you start telling me how you got this massive download. And this download was a lot like it resonated with me because it was a lot like the download I'd gotten about Soulogy and Soulogy One Studios and Soulogy Network over the last few years. And I recognize the language. So I think it's pretty cool. If you want to give a little backdrop on what happened with that download, and then maybe up to last year at this time when I rolled through, which was a year later, almost to the day, and a lot of it had manifested.
Yeah, well, so I'll take it back a little beyond the download. I am from Chicago, and my background is the nightclub industry and DJing and producing events and things of that nature. And then over the years, I pulled myself out of that and started shifting into a much higher vibrational state. And living in Chicago, there's some dense energies there. It's a beautiful city. I love it, and I love the people there. But there are some very, very dense energies there, and it's really a challenge. It's an upward challenge to bring yourself up to a higher vibration when you're working in those energies. And so it just kind of it felt inevitable that a move was going to be part of the process. But I didn't have any plans on it or any ideas of what that would look like. And everything was working out really well for me in Chicago. I had my own healing center there, oral soma, energy and vibrational healing. I was doing regular meditation, sound healings, working all around the city and the surrounding suburbs, and traveling, to various places, performing, doing DJing the ecstatic dances, working with the sound and vibrational healing, just doing a lot of different things within that, and continually working on raising my vibration, but also expanding that vibration and sharing that with other people. And then one day I woke up, and it was just like one of those days when, you go to bed and everything is flowing perfectly, and then you wake up and like your whole world's just imploded. And so I just sat there, and I was like, I refused to acknowledge that all of these things were happening simultaneously without reason. So I just kind of put myself into meditation, and I just sat there, and I basically refused to come out until I found the common thread.
Wow.
And for me, what I recognize is everything that was systematically collapsing that morning was all location. Every single thing, the root of what that was location.
Wow.
And the light went off. I said, I'm in the wrong location. And then I just asked the question, where do I need to be? And it was just like that. One word popped in my head, Sedona.
Had you been here before?
No.
Really?
Never.
Did you know anything about it?
It was Red Rocks.
That's all you knew?
Yeah. The Red Rocks have been something for me that have been calling to me for a long, long time. I've done some extensive backpacking in Canyonlands, and really, really fell in love with the Red Rocks, and it just has had this vibration of home for me. And I didn't know where. I just have always known that eventually I was going to end up in the Red Rocks.
That's very cool. So, and then you had this whole thing about Project Manifest.
Yeah, that happened the same day. So the day that so as soon as that word came into my mind, Sedona,
Yeah.
I was like, I guess I'm moving to Sedona. And then later that night, I was like, well, what the hell am I going to do?
Yeah.
What am I going to do? So sit down and meditate on that again, and it was really astonishing what happened that night. Was it just this full download came in for basically an entire organization.
Wow.
Project Manifest. And what it is, it's basically a 10-step, it was a 10-step program, or a 10-step series of events with dates and geometry and everything. And this was all just kind of done in this free flow writing, which I've never done before.
So you're downloading this, your automatic writing?
Yeah, it's just automatic writing. I mean,
Wow.
just dozens of pages.
Wow.
Dozens. I mean, I think it was like 70 pages.
Is that right?
Whipped through almost an entire notebook.
Now, this is the general, I guess the general theme, or the parent idea, or whatever, is Project Manifest.
Yeah, so everything that I've done basically since that moment, in one way or another, feeds Project Manifest. Project Manifest is built on a completely shareable energy. So what that does is it's creating all of these different entities. The festivals that I produce are within that. Ultimately, the Vibrational Empowerment Network is part of that. It's something that we've created since I've been here.
Right.
So that's a little bit less directly connected to Project Manifest than what the other ones are.
But it's still like we have Soulogy, and then you have Soulogy One Studios, you got Soul Space 5D, you got Soulogy Network,
Yeah.
So, but it's really the energy. Like for us, we consider Soulogy's. It's an energy.
Yes. Yeah.
It's
Exactly.
an energy. It's not a dogma, doctrine. So really, Project Manifest to me sounds like an energy.
It really is, and it's something that's it's beyond me. I just I'm the person that was fortunate enough to receive the download and act on it.
Yeah.
And basically from that moment on, I've just been a co-pilot in the journey, and just allowing it through a series of trust and surrender. Like I didn't have a car. I was living in Chicago, living downtown, didn't have a car for 7 years.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
didn't have anything, didn't know anything. I was given a specific date. I need to be gone. So step one of Project Manifest was to do the first Project Manifest event. And this is all, there's 10 steps within this event, and I'll talk about a few of them. A few of them are going to remain.
There was 10 steps in the event. Now you haven't done all 10 steps, but
No. So it's interesting. 20 this year was scheduled to be step 4.
Okay.
Step 1 was the first event in Chicago, which we did 9/19. Somewhere right in that area.
Okay, the first event was in Chicago.
Second one was the first event we did at the Creative Life Center here in Sedona.
No. Okay.
And then the third event was the Resonate Festival in Sedona. So when I would talk to people and they're like, "What are you coming out to Sedona for?" Like, well, as far out as I was willing to talk about really at that point in time was, well, I'm going out to Sedona to create a music festival, a consciousness festival, Resonate. And no idea about the land, what's going on out here, any scene or any community.
You have the name Resonate Festival.
I've been using Resonate. I've been using Resonate in Chicago for some of my sound healing series.
But you knew you were coming over here to put a festival on.
Yes. Yeah. And
what you accomplished like in a year.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. I mean,
that's
and it wasn't anything forced. I didn't go out. I never went out actively looking for a venue because I knew that would never happen. We had that conversation earlier today about both of us being projectors in human design. So things, have to come with an invitation for me for it to be in flow. And some invitations are more obvious than others.
Yeah.
If the universe sends them, physical people can send them, but it's just kind of stepping into that space of trust and surrender.
Yeah.
It was just, we were doing we had got asked to perform a sound journey. My roommate and business partner, Neil, and we got asked to do a sound healing. Basically the day we got back from a Chicago trip, had done a full road trip. So we had been driving for 26 hours and we got back around like 1 a.m. and Neil's like, "What are we doing? Are we getting paid for this?" And I'm like, "No, it's volunteer for a bunch of kids." He's just like, he's kind of like, why do we gotta do it? I'm like, "I don't know. We got to be there. We have to be there." And I show up to this place, Jackpot Ranch, and I'm literally looking at this place and I'm like, this is it. My eyes are just, bugged out, and I'm like, this is the space. And I'm sitting there and I'm visualizing stages and I'm visualizing the people. And I'm in the middle of this process, and this girl comes up to me who I've never met before. She just literally looks at me and she's just like, "This is an amazing space, isn't it?" And I said, "Yeah." She's like, "I've always wanted to do a festival here." I didn't even know her name, and I'm like, "Let's do it."
And that's it.
Yeah.
So so just so everybody understands, this festival. So he gets here 2 years ago. 12 months later, this festival had 200 performers and presenters. I think it had 11 stages, something like that. 7 stages.
Yeah, presentation areas and stages. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, this thing was huge.
Yeah, had a really, really amazing lineup. So one of the things about my experience in the nightclub industry is like I've got all these major connections within the industry. I know how to book talent. I've been working with that. I'm a DJ, so I stay on top of the music scene. And I have been for my entire life. So, so I wrote down, basically the day after I met Christy, I went home and I got my whiteboard out. And
that was Christy.
Christy Grace, yeah.
Oh, okay. That was the lady that you ran into.
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah. So she's been an amazing partner within Resonate for me, and she's a brilliant web designer. She's working with the Star Knowledge conference now. We're going to be doing some stuff here in Sedona with the Star Knowledge Conference 11/11. I'll be doing a sound journey on that for the 12th, and probably doing some stuff with the network there as well.
Wow, very cool, very cool.
Yeah, but we had just an amazing lineup of headliners, and the music was just part of it. It was all about personal empowerment, and that's the overriding message of Project Manifest is really, it's a blueprint, and this is an active blueprint that I am living.
Right.
So I am living these 10 steps, and once the 10 steps are done, then I'm able to release that blueprint to the world as something that anyone can follow, and it starts with a meditation. It's a very simple meditation, and then it brings in and it opens up all of these different steps, and it can put you in a place where you can manifest whatever it is that you want in your life.
Did everybody get this? No, that did you hear that? And it reminds me of talking to Ashley Lee and Marguerite at the collaboration this past Saturday, the Soul Convergence. So one of them is basically, just for just for an easy description, one of them is infusing 5D frequency into the medical field, and one's doing it into the business field. And we had a conversation, and basically what it came down to in the conversation is that self-empowerment, self-reliance, self-responsibility, self-manifestation, self-alchemy, magic, whatever, is the base component in what they're trying to do. And it's the base component in what I'm trying to do. And I love what you said, because yours was explained better, number one, and it's actually a documented living example. Because I can't look at mine. I could look at my energy, and we match the energy. I can see that,
Yeah.
But you actually document this.
Yeah.
So, you're actually taking the steps. You're embodying it. You're embodying the download, which therefore you're like you're like a star. You're illuminating this code out, this frequency out, which is contagious. And then as you actually physicalize each one of these 10 steps, I can see where it becomes more and more and more and more powerful. So
and it does, and it really every single step incorporates a community. This isn't something that it absolutely isn't me.
Right.
This is something that, like I said, I just basically pushed the button,
right,
and I'm just going along for the ride at this point.
Right.
And it's interesting because, the 10 steps, they all had like dates and specific locations and things of that nature, and so I was all set for 2020 to be step 4, and this was, I had everything scheduled. We had, the step 4 was basically, 6 events, 6 cities, had everything scheduled. We had the first event we accomplished in Las Vegas with the Ancient Future Festival, and then I did Manifest in Costa Rica, which was a brilliant co-produced music festival in Costa Rica. And then we were moving on to the rest of the events for the rest of the year, and with another Resonate festival scheduled, actually ironically it was supposed to be scheduled for next weekend.
Wow.
But didn't end up happening. The reality of the lockdown and everything of that nature changed everything. So I've used this time with the lockdown basically to propel from step 4 to step 7. The other step's still going to need to exist, but step 7 was to create this network, and it was all part of it, and it happened organically. Didn't rush it, but with the recognition of everything that I did in my entire life, for the past 10 years has been event-based. Yeah. Performance-based and event-based. So my entire economy just shut down overnight, and so during the lockdown, I spent that time in Chicago, and, we just kind of hunkered down in this little 1-bedroom studio in Chicago and just studied, worked my ass off, 78 hours a week, figuring out how to change this reality.
Right.
How to shift this into a positive, and figure out how to work with the live streams, work with the physical recording of the sound, because the frequency is so critical with what I do, to be able to put that out at a level to where it's equal to or even superior to being there in person.
Yeah.
It was important to me. I wasn't just going to go plug up one microphone and hit a gong. It's just not the way I work. I'm a triple fire. Everything I do is big. You know, I don't.
I'm a triple fire. But just to give you an example, though, so they've got 4 rooms over here, and there's a room adjacent to this one that actually has like a French door in between, and you can be sitting in that room, and he can hit the gong, or he can hit play of a recording of the gong being hit in the room, and you can't tell the difference. In fact, I think that the digital sound is actually better.
Yeah, that was the interesting thing about Saturday's event that we did over at Satnam. Was at the end of the sound journey. I was sitting there. We had everything set up basically for the sound for the live stream, and there was still a good number of people that showed up, and we did the sound journey. And I have my in-ears in, and I'm listening to this thing happen, this creation, this magic happening. And I'm looking out, and everybody that was in the crowd was like, they were still just out. It was like still a deeply profound experience. But I'm just like, wow, they have no idea.
The sound.
This is something. Yeah. This is so much more intense than what they're experiencing right now. Yeah. And for the first time in my life, I apologized after I was done with the performance to the people in the room. I'm like, look, I'm sorry. You guys got the short end of the stick on this one, because what the people out there got was way better than what you guys received here.
Wow.
And then subsequently, a lot of people have gone back and listened to the playback and the recording with the headphones on, and we're just like, well, that didn't even realize it was possible to expand to that level.
Yeah, that's powerful, because I know that's one thing I've always wanted to see occur is to merge the local. Like the local, show or whatever it is, and stream it and have it really be one and the same, right?
Yeah.
Which is kind of where you're headed, and you're right, the sound is a huge part of it. And it's not an easy deal. I mean, I'm not anywhere near well versed in the music and the mixing and all that, but I know just from doing a lot of broadcasts that, it can really damage a show. It really can. I mean, people will just sign off if it's not flowing properly.
Yeah.
There's Christy.
I just see Christy chiming in with the Resonate website. So yeah, we're looking. She's going to be in town in a couple weeks, and we're gonna do some planning and probably do some live events for Resonate as well while she's in town. So,
really?
Yeah, we'll keep you.
Maybe
you're going to be here anyway. So
I don't know.
Morgan's already. She's.
It could be.
Yeah.
It could be.
Yeah.
It really could. So you've got, of course, Project Manifest is like the energy containing everything.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And then you've got the Resonant Fest or the festivals. But the big thing you got going right now is the Vibrational Empowerment Network. Which is, I believe it's vibrationalempowerment.net.
Yes.
Is the website. And it's much more than a facilitating URL for streaming or videos. There's much more to it than that, right?
Yeah, as with everything within the Project Manifest scope, it's fully shareable. Everything that's being created to this point through me is on this fully shareable energy, and we want to empower everyone that's a part of it. So it's all the way from the people who are helping organize, people who are contributing content, everyone that's involved with it, including the members, has the opportunity to step into their own power in their own space.
Yeah.
And the motto of the Vibrational Empowerment Network is what empowers you, because that's the root of it. Is we want to find out what empowers you at an individual level, because you have what empowers you is different than what empowers me. We have a lot of parallel lines, and there's a lot of different ways that you and I can alchemize this magic and alchemize this energy in these unique ways by merging together. But in order for those to be pure alchemizations, we have to both be operating at a frequency that is our truth, is our own truth, and that understanding, that awareness. If you're not operating at your highest power, it's not going to be a benefit to me, and it's not going to be a benefit to you. I get, people coming up to me, approaching me all the time. How can I help? What can I do? I don't know.
What do you want to do?
What you tell me.
What makes you happy?
Yeah, you tell me. What can you do that is in your highest excitement that would be a benefit to us, but put you in a position to be living the best life that you can be living.
Yeah, and I know you know this because of your background, but I'm speaking really. I guess I could say in my background too, but I'm just going to talk about Soulogy like the last 9 years as a point of context. But so I know you've like pulled stuff together because you're just like me. You're a projector. You're a producer. You're a coordinator, and there's in the old world, in the old paradigm, there was a lot of agenda.
Mm-hmm.
There was a lot of issues about what percentage am I getting, or control, or what's my title, or whatever. What I've noticed this year, and I've gone through this with Soulogy over the years. We've launched this, launched that, blow it up, and one of the things I've learned too, because we've been in the process, as you know, for almost 2 years to launch a network, but I'm being told no. I'm being told wait till it's presented. Don't force anything. Mm-hmm. And I think that's indicative of the what I'm seeing happening here with us, with our co-creators, co-collaborators, be they groups or individuals, but also within Soulogy itself. It seemed like over the last, I want to say probably like the last 3 to 4 months, there's been just an alignment. Mm-hmm. And a lot like what happened here. We get in here, you're in the engineering chair, I might be over there in the other room doing a broadcast, and it's amazing because you've got a guest, you've got this person walks in, this guy's got a camera, this one's taking video, and he's right. Everybody's doing what they want to do. Everybody's doing what they love to do. So this is their gift, this is their contribution. And there's no tug of war. We've had no tug of war, not from I haven't seen anything. Anytime we've gotten together, and I think maybe what's happening with you and your crew and what's happening at Soulogy is also starting to take hold, collectively.
Yeah, it's a huge part of it. The old energy just doesn't work anymore. Mm. And people who are fighting that are really going to start to feel these struggles. And I think that there's two ways of looking at the situation that we're in right now. There's the woe is me, kind of like, everything is falling apart, the whole world's collapsing, and there's the, well, let's take this as a time to shift, because that's what it is. This is a complete reset of our realities, and this is a time for us to create and build and co-create together in this whole self-centered, egoic mindset that so many people are in is not what's going to carry us through. I mean,
there's nothing to sustain it anymore. So, and that's why like I think Steve and I are going to talk about some things after this segment. We can talk about a lot of the things that are wrong, but you're right, they're just opportunities. I mean, I've been talking about our car blowing up all week on the show. Immediately I had a little trigger moment for like maybe an hour the next morning, but Morgan and I both realized it's not what it looks like.
Yeah.
It's actually an opportunity for expansion.
Exactly.
And that's what that's how we approach it. But I think more and more people in these circles are starting to do that.
Yeah.
But when it comes to functioning moment by moment in life, because we all have our individual journeys, that's one thing. But when it comes to why are we here? Why did we wake up? Why am I aware of who I am and what I am and what I'm a part of and what am I coming into? To me, it becomes, what are we going to do with it?
Yeah.
Like, are we just going to say, oh, well, good to see you again. We've had 14,000 lives together, and nice. Hey, we're multidimensional, and we can, I got to behave myself, but we can, be in a mutual admiration society. But let's create something new. I remember having a conversation with Morgan when we got to a certain point in our relationship, and I was like, hey, let's go back to that green and purple planet where we had that big castle and all the unicorns running around, and we're making love all day.
Yeah.
And she said, why don't we create something new?
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, that's it.
That's so funny because this morning I'm on my way in and I'm just like, well, I don't know what the hell we're going to talk about. Obviously there's a lot of stuff that's going on, but there was just this thing that came in, and and for me, like, I came into this body and I've always felt, this. I've always been in leadership roles. I've always been in these, management and producing my own things and doing all this stuff. And then start to work with past lives, and then you recognize, I've been a king in many, many lifetimes.
Mm-hmm.
And then I realized, I'm a king in this reality.
Yeah.
We are all kings. This reality is this time where we all get to be our own king. We all get to be our own queens of our own reality. We create our own realities, and therefore you are the king of your own existence, or the queen of your own existence, whichever it may be.
Yeah.
And you get to create at that level as if you had whatever you wanted working for you anytime you want it, and just being open and aware to receive those blessings and receive those things that are coming in. It just takes vision, and just takes you being awake and seeing the signs.
True. Yeah, and engaging that energy. So we talk about a lot. We all do, because we've all been conditioned this go around. And of course, there's the fear-based programming, which is very, it's everywhere.
It's designed to take away your power.
Absolutely.
It's just taking away that power, and when you take that power away, you're putting someone else in control of your reality, and you are no longer that king.
That's right.
You're subservient.
If you're not in control of your energy, someone's going to be in control of your energy.
Absolutely.
And I guess what I'm getting at is, like, to me, Project Manifest and all of its variations, Soulogy and its variations, many, many other Project Manifests around the world, many other Soulogys around the world. We're talking energy. These are words for energy.
Mm-hmm.
But these energies, these individuals, these groups where two or more gather, these collaborators and so on, they're starting to engage this energy. So it doesn't matter what's coming at you. It doesn't matter if it's the cop pulling you over. It doesn't matter if it's this authority or this dogmatic rule or whatever the case is. We have a choice. And I like this at this stage of the game after the last 9 years. I love it because I don't have to... we've done a tremendous amount of inner work, shadow work, zero pointing. Doesn't mean that we're all done. It doesn't mean we're not going to get triggered or have something appear before us so that we can have another opportunity for expansion. But we've done enough that I feel, at least for me, and what I'm seeing with people like you and other initiatives, we can start focusing on the collaborations and the co-creations and engaging this force, this third force, this Trinity force, that's created where two or more gather. It's working with us. And what happens to me, when I see this happening, what happens and what's been my experience, slowly but surely it's expanded, is when I click, like we're clicking this week, what we've been doing, all this positive energy, all these golden particles get created, and it's, it creates a lot more good imbalance, and really becomes like a strong majority, if not the full composition of my experience, which is pure creation. It's pure, no agenda, pure love, pure trust, pure joy, pure bliss, pure imagination, curiosity, and you just start blowing it up. And it's a lot more fun than, getting out there in the dark nights of the soul.
Yeah, it's becoming your own creational matrix.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. And nothing can penetrate it. And yes, we're going through transitions, so we're in levels of comprehension and alignment to try to understand things and see things. But I believe we've got enough evidence out there. There's enough of a community. There's enough examples that you can look around in your own sphere of experience and also others and see that this is working.
Yeah,
no matter what's being put out there, this is working.
And seeing that working is where the magic is. Like I'll just use myself as an example, and I'll be very real on this. Like this, since February, I've been in the midst of this incredible financial collapse because everything I do got shut down. But I am more abundant now than I've ever been in my entire life.
Yeah.
And I recognize that, and I am grateful for that. And I'm not worried about the financial reality because I understand, because the signs are there. If I were to be sitting there worrying about this financial reality, I'd be, going off and getting, a regular, doing a job at a gas station or something like that.
Right.
Something that's not serving my greater good. And those are those challenges that get placed in front of you. You face these challenges all the time, and it's like, okay, well, I can give up on this and just go do this. Well, what's that serving anyone? It's not serving anyone anything.
That's right.
And I see, and I'm rewarded, by, a week like this. Last Monday, I'm sitting in the office with Ty. We've had the date. Part of what I do is I get dates. I get, the dates just come in. I know I need to do an event, on the 19th. Well, what are we going to do? I have no idea. Normally the events that I work with, they're orchestrated to a T. We map them out, working on these things, details for months. Every time I sat down and tried to work on this date last Saturday, nothing. Just like the energy was just like, no, don't worry about that now. That'll come. And so next thing I know, something told me to reach out to you. I'm just driving home one day. You got to call Todd. I think I saw something. Saw something on one of your episodes or something, and I was like,
yeah, I was coming this weekend.
Yeah,
I was coming in like yesterday.
Yeah, and I was just like, you got to call Todd.
You hit me up, and then I was like, oh, I guess we're going earlier.
Yeah, and it's like I didn't know what we were gonna do. Didn't have any idea. You even asked me, what are we gonna do? I'm like, I don't know, but it's gonna be awesome.
That's how it works. That's the way it works. Though. Even when we come in here, these past few days, we come in here, and we just kind of come in, and everything just kind of happens.
Yeah, and that was it. It was just everything. Everything just clicked. Then like all of a sudden there's this. Didn't have a name for the event, but then all of a sudden like everyone just started like converging.
Yeah.
And onto this event and on into this area. And then it was just like I wanted to tie in the Soulogy name to the event, and then I was like, well, this is just this brilliant convergence of souls, so soul convergence.
Yeah.
And so that's the energy we're working with this week. And I mean, then the studio here has been amazing. The energy is just off the radar right now because like just the amount of people who are coming in and flowing in, and there's no schedule. We don't have any schedule at all. It's just like people show up, and it's like.
People show up when they come in.
Yeah, and it's like, oh, yeah.
I think we've actually had 2 or 3 come over that couldn't come on because it just didn't work out. But they're coming back, and so let's like this thing happened on the 19th, which was phenomenal. That 4 hours, that was like a convergence. Like it started out with this little nucleus, and then it got bigger and bigger. Awake TV came in, Sarah Adams came in. Darren came in, Julian. And then we just said, hey, let's have a meetup next door because all these people were contacting us, and we just like, why don't we just have a meetup? We thought about 10 people would come.
Yeah.
And
next thing you know, we're getting in trouble for, not practicing social distance.
Well, and the funny thing is they put us outside, and that's what I was going to say is that the frequency of that whole night, like there must have been 40, 45 people. It was just like, again, no agenda. It was just, people just, spending time with each other, exchanging code. It was very powerful.
Yeah.
The manager came up to me afterward. He said, I cannot believe, or the owner told him that she could not believe how level our frequency was out there for so long. Like she couldn't believe there wasn't something that happened. Not that, somebody would get out of hand, but she just said she couldn't believe it. Yeah. And that, to me, kind of, it kind of epitomizes the whole thing.
Yeah, and one of the other things that you just kind of briefly touched on was just like, the people meeting and everyone and the new connections and all that stuff. That's one of the main reasons that I do what I do.
Yeah.
When I produce the festival or an event or whatever, I don't even care if anyone knows who I am.
Right.
Right. I want people to recognize me for my music.
Yeah.
I love it. That's my highest power. That's my highest excitement is working with the music. I don't care if people know that this is my event or not. Like I would much rather have someone come up and say, "Oh my God, that DJ set you did was amazing," or that sound journey was amazing. That's where it's at for me. The what I receive from the events is so much greater than that.
Yeah.
It's I'm able to, at a microcosmic level, look at what's happening, and you see these new connections and these new energies being formed.
Yeah.
And so 2 people might meet at one of your events. They go on to do something or create a project, and that project influences someone else.
That's it.
And then that continues exponentially.
Yeah.
And so something that you created has this power to change so many different lives, and that ripple continues forever. It never stops.
Right. Right.
You've planted this seed, and that seed grows into this tree with all of these branches, and each individual meeting, each occurrence, everything that happens is its own seed.
Yep. And then a branch drops a nut in the ground, and another tree starts growing.
Mm-hmm.
But no, you're exactly like me. You know, like my wife was telling, we were talking to a friend a couple days ago. Well, they were saying how they don't like being on camera. And then they were like, oh, but Todd loves being on camera. And I said, no. That's not the thing. It's not. Ever since I got this, it was the same as you talked about. I know the day's coming, and this is really my dream. Like, my dream is to be in a studio like this, 3 walls of panels, boatloads of monitors, and computers, and just be editing video, just be creating channel feed for channels for this this hub of universal expression. And I accept my role, and I understand my role. And that's fine, but I know that whatever the name of that energy is, Soulogy or Project Manifest or Vibrational Empowerment Network or whatever it might be, Awake TV, that there are many, many, many faces that comprise that energy. And I think what I really get off is exactly what you were talking about. What I get off on the most, and I get messages every single day about so-and-so, I met so-and-so through Soulogy.
Yeah.
There's groups, there's networks, there's talk shows, and it's not about getting the accolades. That's not what it is. It's actually, to me, that is the currency.
Yes.
Like, I'm getting chills. Like, to me, like the universe tells me all the time, and has for many years, because I don't ever have a whole lot materially, materialistically. It would just say, just keep putting the work, just keep putting it out, just keep putting it out. Open your heart, put it out. And the energy will come back to you in some form or fashion. And I'm watching it all the time.
Yeah, absolutely.
It really is. It's amazing.
You create that vibration of abundance, and you're bringing it into your life in whatever form or fashion that is.
Yeah.
And I know that right now, for whatever reason, the monetary aspect of it isn't there. No. And perhaps it's because I need to be stripped down to this core level and this bare level, and to be able to create this. Everything that's been built has been built with no budget. I mean, like the cameras that you're seeing, I had basically had to hack security system cameras to get them to work. The lights. It was a need. It was something that I needed. It was on my list, and then. Gabriel, who was, our audio engineer for the show on Saturday, was just like, oh, you need these lights. And he brought them by the studio one morning and just kind of brought them to us, So all the stuff that is needed is here in lieu of the money, If I had all that money and just throwing the money out there, it wouldn't have as much value.
No.
They would just be things at this point. No. These are cherished possessions now because of the work that have had to go into creating this at that level. Yeah,
absolutely. And this is very symptomatic of what we're talking about, because if like yesterday, you were here yesterday when Isabella Green came in and was talking sacred sex. Yeah. So
I had some weird dreams last night too. I'm not going to get into it.
She does live in Rimrock. So, but what I'm getting at is we're really talking about an energy. So she's talking about the first experience she had, where she had a dimensional experience through intimacy. Mm-hmm. So before her and this man start to engage, he says, I'm not going to engage. Essentially what he was telling her, until you open your heart fully.
Yes.
So at the moment that those two hearts open, things happen, and that's not what I'm getting into. What I'm getting into here is it's the same thing.
Yeah.
So Gabriel walks in, his heart's open. We talked yesterday for a while. Your heart's open, my heart's open. We recognize each other. Stephen comes in, this person comes in, this person comes in. This creates this vortex of just incredible exponential abundance that we've never seen. It doesn't even work off the math that we've been raised on. It doesn't work off the language we've been raised on. And so I go back to the same thing. You just keep feeding it, because that's how it's going to grow. Because if we're not feeding that, then we've got to feed the old loops and the old paradigms and the old patterns and behaviors. And they don't work. We're coming out of a codependent frequency into this type of thing that I just described, with the open heart connections where two or more gather, whatever you call that. But with that comes a level of abundance we've never seen. It's like it is supernatural, and it's far beyond resources, and it's far beyond money.
Yeah, and it's like it's, you know, we say it's this new energy, but it's not. It's really this old energy that we're just now coming back into power with.
That's
you know,
right.
like the ancient civilizations knew this. You know,
Yeah.
you know the same thing with sound and frequency. You know, the ancient civilizations understood the power of vibration, and that's what this is. This is a vibration. This is a frequency of abundance and a frequency and an abundance of love.
Yeah.
Whether you're single, whether you're with your, you know, your divine counterpart, or whatever you may be, that love comes from within yourself. You know, one of the things that Ty and I talk about all the time is, you know, the front of your field is where you give, the back is where you receive.
Yes.
We have been brought up in this reality thinking that we have to give to receive, and then you know, you expect, you know, you're giving and you keep on falling on these expectations, you know, and nature doesn't work that way at all. You know, nature doesn't work that way at all. You have to, the tree has to receive the water, it has to receive the light, it has to receive all the things.
Yeah.
And then after it's nurtured for however long it needs to be nurtured for, then it can give that fruit.
That's it in a nutshell.
Yeah. Or
It
a
really
nut.
is. that really is. No, because if you think about it, if you look at our society, okay, and we don't want to beat a dead horse, but we're being asked to give.
Yeah.
Give, or you're not normal, or you're not a team player, or you're not loved, you know, or whatever. And that's not the way it works. It's not the way it works.
Yeah,
You know,
and in this situation, with everything I'm doing, ultimately I am putting myself first, because what my highest excitement is I want to play music.
Yeah.
And so,
And connect
because
people.
of my love of music and that, and feeding that, and allowing myself that, I can give my pure essence at that point, because I'm receiving it.
Yeah.
Whether I'm receiving it through myself or receiving it through others, that's the whole principle of self-love. You have to love yourself first before you can love someone else.
That's right. That's right. And that's part of the new math, I think, too, is, you know, it's service to self, service to the collective, service to humanity.
Mm-hmm.
It's all one and the same thing. Like, you're doing what's best for you, and it's actually creating huge dividends and opportunities and connections and other creative, you know, sparks and seeds and initiatives from you just saying, I want to play music.
Yeah, and that's one of the biggest rewards for me. It's like the number of times when someone has been involved with one of the aspects of the projects that's come up to me and like, oh my God, thank you so much. That was a dream come true. I'm like, I didn't do anything. You did it.
Yeah.
You came up and told me what you wanted to do, and you just did it. And I just provided the platform for you to do that.
And so, yeah, and again, this is another example of what this energy looks like.
Yeah.
So I talked to a lot of practitioners. In the early years when I was interviewing people, it would be like 2016, 2017, the practitioners had a different energy. The experience or the situation of a session had a different energy. It was very much teacher, student, I'm going to heal you kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
And now I've noticed over the last year and a half or so, when they come on, a lot of them have talked about how their practices has evolved, how their clientele has changed, and how even their modalities have been detached or modified or remixed, and how every session is never the same. And the one thing that they keep saying is that this just what you just said, which is when they say to them, "Oh, thank you for doing this for me," and they'll say, "No, you did it for yourself."
Yes.
So they're not taking ownership and disempowering a person and saying, "I'm going to do this for you," because you can't. They're saying, "Hey, here's the door. Here's what I know. Let me share my code with you, and let me kind of walk you through this. Because if I can show this to you and it works for you, then you can do it for yourself. And really, you do it for yourself." So this is part of that new energy too, which I think is very evident, like with what we're talking about, like when we're collaborating. You know, I mean, it's just like people just pick up stuff and everything falls in place, and no, we didn't rehearse anything, and it's just all done in real time.
Mm-hmm.
And there's something powerful about that.
Yeah, and it's just that being completely in the flow.
Yeah.
You know, and surrendering to the process, and not being tied to any expectation of any outcome.
No.
You know, like, yes, with the Project Manifest, there's some set things along the way. You know, there's an ultimate goal.
Yeah.
And when that happens, it's going to be an amazing thing. And I'll talk to you about that another
You're
day.
You're gonna be like Enoch and just go up and ascend up and spontaneously combust.
But it's it's just this beautiful thing. You know, along the way, it's just like whatever is there, whatever comes in, that's that energy that you're working with. You know, and Michael Mahea was talking about Eckhart Tolle the other day, and the power of now, and that's really what it is. It's just this now moment, this reality, because the past is the past, and the future may never be.
That's right.
You know, and so what are you doing right now in this moment to live your highest excitement, to live your best version of you?
Which isn't BS, by the way. That and because what's happening now, when you put yourself in that space, you get an immediate reciprocation from the universe. Something happens. Somebody knocks on, or you go to do a kid's event, 26 hours driving from Chicago, and you go, and you meet a beautiful lady that says, "Hey, let's have a festival."
Yeah, when that's the entire reason why I'm here in the first place.
This is how it happens.
Yeah, exactly. Right. And this.
And the more I hang around you, the more I realize I'm probably not leaving Sedona.
Yeah, well,
because my head's always tingling over here.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, that's why I live in Rimrock, and my office is here, and I like to. The energies are really, really intense here, and
absolutely.
I'm an intuitive empath, and and we can get into that whole story at another time or later, but I feel all the energies. So for me, it's like I was really guided from day one of moving out here to. We'll let that pass.
No, it's trippy.
But to use these energies ceremonially.
Yeah.
So I come in, I get to drive in, I get to see the majesty of the red rocks, coming up over the horizon, every single morning.
Yeah.
And then feeling that energy come in and welcoming it and working with that energy. And then I get to go home and detach and decompress and allow my head to stop buzzing. So that's kind of one of the really nice things about that.
That sounds like a good recipe. Yeah, because it is powerful here.
Mm-hmm.
It really is. I mean, I'm down in Oak Creek, and that's nice to be just that far away from this part of town.
It wasn't a dolphin. It was a siren. We're out on 89A, so there's basically one road through Sedona. For those of you that haven't been here, it is not. It is a spiritual mecca, but it is definitely not a big city. So there's really one road through, and anytime something happens, the sirens have to flow by. When I'm working with sound and vibrational clients and things of that nature, we utilize those frequencies within it. So we if we hear the siren coming, we hear it coming from a while away, and we'll kind of work that into the journey, and then it becomes part of the journey.
So one of the things, they do a lot of stuff here. We talked about it on some of the shows, because there's more than Jade here, more than Ty. Serena's here. There's other people that come in and out, but they're the basis of what goes on in here in terms of what's offered in terms of services and different things like that. So we're in kind of a studio / sound healing room. Mm-hmm. And one of the things that Jade and Ty do is they give sound healings, which are a lot like the sound baths. They do every Thursday sonic, what is it? Sedona Sonic Alchemy.
Yeah.
They used to do it live. I've been to a couple of them. They're pretty fascinating. I'd never been able to sit in one before until I went to theirs, which was very cool. But so this is one of the things they do. This is one of the new ways to develop, awaken the energy within a person. And I think we're going to do a little demonstration.
Yeah.
Can you show them the?
Yeah, if you want to flip to the Soulogy one in the gong space, yeah. So yeah, on the right-hand side of the screen, that's my gong setup. We'll be working with that a little bit later. I'm an authorized Paiste gong agent, so I actually travel and work with the gongs, and I work with them at a very deep level, energetically. So we work with planetary gongs, and I've got a couple that are, just general gongs that are not planetary from Paiste. But what I do that's unique, and I learned this, ironically enough, from DJing techno in nightclubs in Chicago, and it's this energy exchange through frequency.
Yeah.
So, people like ask me all the time, like, how did you get into sound healing? I'm like, well, I'm a DJ. It's kind of like that whole Happy Gilmore thing. He never wanted to give up being a hockey player. I'm still a DJ at my heart. And what I learned to do over the years is just sending out frequency and vibration through song to elicit an emotional and energetic response to an audience.
Wow.
And then based off of that response is where we go energetically from there. With the sound healing, it takes it actually a step further, because we're actually literally penetrating every cell of your being. And the sound's traveling through the room and it's traveling through your body all at the same time. And as it's coming back, I'm picking up on what's happening energetically within your body, as well as the gongs. The gongs are receptive, as well as sending out the frequencies.
So the bongs.
The bongs. you can hit those too, Ty. I just called you Ty because he's probably in the other room hitting the bong.
But the gongs are conscious, like a crystal.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and for me, being a triple fire, the fact that those are forged from fire, there's a really innate connection for that I have. That just really transcends me to some other place, and I've done a lot of medicine ceremonies over the years, and where I go when I'm working musically is very similar to that of a shamanic ceremony, and I just take myself basically out of my body and allow that flow of energy to come through.
Wow.
And at this point now, it's like, people come into the session, people can come in. I do sessions remotely, so we can do them, from wherever you're at in the world, or I can do them in studio. And with the way the mics are all set up and everything like that, it's we're actually putting headphones on in the rooms now because the sound is so good. So we are even doing it when using the headphones in studio mode when you're in studio.
So we could. So you actually do these remotely.
Yes.
The other person puts the headphones on,
Mm-hmm.
and you guys do your thing.
Yeah, and then we can even do them live and bring in someone else. Like if someone wanted to do a meditation, so we can actually produce out meditations for people. So if you are a healer and you want to do a musical live intuitive concert or performance, we can bring you in via Zoom, and you can guide the meditation. And we would flow along intuitively with what you were doing energetically.
That's true.
And Ty and I both are, we're both Reiki masters, and we work energetically. So working energetically from a distance is something that we're very in tune with.
So you're not just complimenting the practitioner. You're actually consciously intending.
Yeah.
And opening up. You're basically acting like an energy practitioner, just in a different form.
Yeah, and we can work also with their not just with their energy field, but we can also work with their astrology. So if there's certain elements of your astrology we want to bring in, if you want to bring in some stuff you're going through with your rising sign or something that's hitting you right now or whatever, we can work with that. We also will have you intuit colors and shapes, and we create those colors and shapes and polarities through sound as well. So we make it a very, very personal experience. It's not just like, you're not just tuning in and I'm going to hit a gong a couple times.
Yeah.
It's way beyond.
No, I know.
Way beyond.
Plus, if you bring in a practitioner, now that's trippy, because I've collaborated with people much less sophisticated, but they may have a guitar and the vocals, and I'll rap with them. So you've already got the challenge of the streams, but and that's one of the things that we're already working with other people, and I'm just like, I'm still waiting for that the magenta pixie thing to manifest into the reality, because we've been working energetically with her. I've never met her before, but we've been working energetically with her for quite some time already. So there's a lot of things that we're really looking to do, and working with other musicians and healers and other people who have those offerings and those things to work with, is great. And those are all things that we can produce out. We set up a link, we can actually add them to our network. That's one of the things that makes the network such a shareable reality,
is that we can take your content and we can add it to the network. If you want to offer it as a free offering, we can do that. There's also ways that we can monetize that for you as well if it's something that you feel that you want to monetize. We'll have Danny Picard in next Monday, and he and I do, he's an alchemical hypnotherapist, and he and I do this magical thing where he comes in the studio and we just intuitively work, you know.
We're going to film that on Monday.
Yeah, that's going to be Monday. So yeah, so there'll be you know, you guys will have a chance to talk, and then we'll actually do one of those, and then we have like four of those sessions that we're going to have put together, including that one available for purchase as well. So
right on. So we're going to do a little dose of that now.
Yeah.
Somebody asked to do it.
Yeah, I'm ready.
Yeah, let me take care of a little something real quick.
Mm-hmm.
And
Let's go this way for some.
Yeah. Cool.
Yeah, keep the sound on
Yeah.
so that we don't lose them. Okay, let me get this. Let's see. Okay. Yeah, this is going to be good.
Mm-hmm.
All right, let's see. Gmail. Cool.
Check.
And you can shift it over to
Yeah. Okay. Let's take care of this. All right, let's see here.
let's go.
At this point, if you are listening from home, for an optimal experience, headphones would be advised, or some form of stereo speakers. And we're just gonna flow. I have no idea what Todd's gonna do. We didn't even talk about this, so.
Yeah, we never talk about it. Okay. Let's see. You got a camera on him? Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Just picture this. All right, 1 second. All right. I don't know what I'm gonna do either, but we'll figure it out. 47 people in the house on the Soulogy One Studios page, and quite a few on the other ones.
47 is my number.
It just keeps coming up roses. All right. Let Jade start it out.
And I think the Atlantis gong is telling me it would like to start things off today.
Go for it. I see dragons. Every now and then, in the journey of the multiverses, in the journey of the soul, there comes a time and a place, an era, an end of an epoch, where there's a great crescendo, there's a great expansion. We believe this is the time we're in now. So it's a time of extremities. Each side of the spectrum becoming more enhanced. What we thought was reality, is getting more and more magnified. Things like borders, rules, laws, regulations, copyright, trademark, contracts, do's and don'ts, quarantines and masks, points of context in duality that divide and separate and that challenge the human hybrid soul to rise once again in the name of unity consciousness, in the name of individuality, in the name of service to the collective, service to humanity, and service to self, because they're all one and the same thing. So, we all know that we've been attached at some point to the traumas that we set up in our own life paths. And we've learned to transmute and transform those perceptions, those weaknesses, those handicaps, and we've turned them into gold through the alchemic transformation of illusion into our true natural nature. But we've also had to learn not to become attached to our past life memories, to our abilities to channel and transmit and download, to our apparent abilities to heal and bring alignment, to the essences that speak to us. Being attached to those otherworldly things is no different than being attached to the past traumas. All of these things were provided for us to take us to a certain level of transformation and awareness, to wake up our natural nature, the sleeping giants that we've been. So now we're at a point we don't have to ask, why are we here? Why did this happen? Why is this divine essence speaking to me? Why are these galactics visiting me? We don't have to ask ourselves those types of whys anymore. We can ask one other thing. Why have we come this far? Why have all these memories and codes, information and data, why have they all come to the surface? What are we going to do with this awareness? What are we going to do with this expansiveness? What are we going to do with our natural skills and abilities, supernatural that they are? What are we going to create? What are we going to co-create, collaborate? What are we going to manifest? What brings you joy and bliss? Who brings you joy and bliss? We came into this final leg of this cycle with the foundation of the Akashic. Every one of us having full access to it. If we can combine that with all of the experience of the incarnations that we've had here on Earth, in particular this summary life that we're in now, we then create a higher level of truth, a more expanded template, a more expanded original blueprint. We are the new good book. We are the new template. We are the new blueprint. We are the new divine human species, a gift to the universal family. The species that added into the equation of manifestation and creation the power of emotion, the ability to transmute and transform and localize our focus onto the process of change, of expansion, of rebirth and renewal. We are all valiant souls. There is no energy outside of ourselves, be it the darkest of the dark or the most illuminated of the light, that has power over us unless we give that power over. We are gods and goddesses in the flesh, and we are here to bring what we have in dimension, what we have on other timelines, to bring it into a physical, thick, dense realm. You can call it a great experiment, but whatever it is, it's an opportunity that we've earned, that we chose to be here. We've come all this way. There's no sense in stopping now. Nothing can hurt us. There is no death. What are we afraid of? Nothing. There's nothing outside of ourselves that has any power over us. In fact, everything outside of ourselves is like a shaman. It's challenging us. It's questioning us. It's trying to fool us. But it's doing it from a divine heart, the same divine heart that we all share. It's pushing us until we take the leap. Many people have done this in their journey on an individual level. Some people have partnered up, and now more and more people, more and more groups, cells of soul around the world are congealing, and they're lighting this grid up, and it's growing, and it's growing, and it's growing very, very quickly in this quantum field. Each and every moment offers an opportunity to bring to the center point, the 0 point, whatever polarities are presenting themselves. Do not underestimate the power of one unique and equal soul, especially your own. Because one soul in any realm can alter the entire realm instantaneously. It's not up to any external leader, group, cause, or movement to bring salvation to you or to me. It's not going to happen. It's part of the programming. It's not about politics. It's not about religion. It's not even about ethics and morals or sexual preference or anything cultural. It's not about the color of our skin. It's about code. It's about infinite code. It's about pure love. It's about trust. And ultimately, it's about creation. Might have to do something a little different. Na
Did the chief come in? We have there's an Indian chief that comes in.
Yeah?
Yeah, it's I'd say about one out of every 3 sessions that we do here.
Yeah.
There's this people are always like, "Who's the chief?"
Well, the funny thing is, the first time I came to Sedona, I was in Oak Creek, and I borrowed my friend's car, and I never really had done any kind of sacred song or light language or anything like that. So I'm in the car by myself, and I'm driving up towards 89, and I got the rocks on both sides. The next thing I know, I just started going off. And then a little bit later on, I had this experience while I was here in that first 6 weeks, and I was a chief, and I was on the top of one of these rocks, and I was doing this. I don't know what the hell it was, but it was very incredible. I was actually in Cottonwood when it happened, and yeah. So I don't know. It's come through a few times, and but my whole thing with what just occurred is this is what happens when we all let go of our fears, let go of our agendas, let go of our wounds, our traumas, and our asphyxiations with who I channel and who I was in a past life and what I can do, and we just come together and bring what we have in that moment, and then you see what happens. This was much more than a musical or meditative or sound healing encounter. This was a higher level of healing, a higher level of alignment for myself, and I have to believe that that's contagious in the mirrors that are in my field. So this is what it's all about. This was a physical representation of an energetic occurrence that's happening all over the world, but it only happens when we take the initiative on an individual level to join hands with our brothers and sisters in collaboration and co-creation. And it is more powerful than any quarantine, than any president or prime minister, than any movement, than any religion, than any point of differentiation. It is the unity consciousness. And it may sound corny and cliche, but I can promise you one thing. In this room right now, it is fucking lit in here. Okay, so thank you, my brothers, for this. This was, I believe, the first of many.
Yeah. Yeah, it kind of, the seed was kind of lit the other day with Michael and, the magic that you guys did together. That was really just so powerful. And it was such a unique thing because we'd never worked with poetry before. And on Sunday evening, I was at this magical equinox ceremony over at the Chocolate Tree. And my beloved sister, Marga, was doing the music. So I went over to help her out with the sound, myself and Gabriel. And there was this just amazing goddess of I don't even know what to call her. She was just pure light. Gabriella R. Young, I believe is her last name. And she was doing some Rumi channeling, and I was just seeing it come in. And this is the rate in which the manifestations occur. This was Sunday night, and I'm visualizing. I'm like, oh my God, I want to do sound with poetry. And the next day, you walk in with Michael Mahea, and you're like, hey, we're going to do some poetry jam. Are you guys ready to play some music? Well, fuck yeah.
Oh, man.
So that just kind of was just like this instant manifestation. And that's the abundance that I'm talking about that just flows in. You think it, and it becomes, and it's just like not any hesitation, nothing at all, and Stephen will be able to get into a little bit more of the manifestation too. He's actually a author of the Manifestor's Playbook, so right make sure to ask him about that.
Right on.
But so it's just when you're working with that energy and that vibration, and you see something, and then you become it.
Right on. Right on. You want to come sit down now?
Yeah, cool.
Oh man, I feel like taking a break, but I don't think I could. That was actually I left for a bit.
Yeah, there's always a deeper channeling that happens within that.
Yeah,
and it's pretty amazing. Yeah, so
yeah, I had like the view from that monitor, looking at Jade. I was actually out of the body.
Yeah.
looking at
That's the funniest thing is like sometimes like I'll actually will physically leave my body, and there's sometimes when I'm just physically sitting there watching myself play, and I'm
right,
like, well, who the hell's playing right now? If I'm sitting here watching that person playing, you know, and it's just this really weird existential thing that happens. So, you know, if you are interested, you know, in a session with me, you can contact me. There's numerous ways of getting through with us. The Vibrational Empowerment Network is probably the easiest. You can just join our network and reach me there. It's a community that we've created. It's much like a social media platform, minus the algorithms and minus the ads. And it's all about bringing people into their own power. And through vibration, and not just through vibration, but ultimately it is, I guess, because everything ultimately, when it boils down to it, is vibration. So, you know, I have my Instagram is at the Gong Space, and I'm on Facebook under Jason Jade Lyons, and we have all of these social media things going too. I'll ask Stephen will. I'm sure share some of those with us. I'm kind of between worlds right now, so the technical things and the websites just aren't flowing in right now. So thank you all so much, and thank you, Todd, as always,
you, man.
This has been just an epic adventure so far, and I'm looking forward to seeing what unfolds in the next week, man. I mean,
have no idea.
We got to figure out. It's going to keep getting better, though. I know that much because this shift is real.
I know it is, man. Like, I don't even know how I'm going to function the rest of the weekend.
Yeah. All right.
All right, man. That's better than. All right, brother.
Cool.
All right. We got Stephen in the house, also known as Esteban.
We move up a little closer. Awesome.
I'm Spanish, so I can actually say that semi-correctly. Esteban. Wait a minute.
I'm glad you mentioned Spanish because you mentioned you have a Mexican background, and I love how we all come from such different backgrounds.
Right.
And it sounds like you were not born into it. You had an awakening.
What do you mean? As a Mexican?
Because you said you have a Catholic background, and we were joking around about that, and how some people are born into this community. Maybe their parents are yoga teachers, for example.
Hippies, like
exactly.
Gabriel. Gabriel's parents moved here. He was from New York City when he was 14 years old. And one was a chiropractor and one was something acupuncturist or something. I can't remember. But I asked him. I said, "You moved to Sedona in 1990. There was one traffic light here. Were your parents
That's
hippies?"
changed. That's changed.
But you know what I mean? I mean, like he was kind of born into it. Not that he hadn't earned his stripes, but yeah, I get what you're saying.
So I believe Jade and I, we kind of found this community, you know? So there's something powerful about that.
Yeah. How did you find it?
It was actually through yoga. I think yoga was my gateway drug into the spiritual world. And fell in love with yoga, the yoga community, the spiritual community, the Om. We're all about the Om here. And I'm very excited and very grateful to be on this video, this podcast, this live stream with Todd Medina. He is the Joe Rogan of the spiritual world. He has all the spiritual guests on, and they go in depth into all different types of topics. Yesterday, if you were on the show, or if you listened to this show, Ms. Green, you guys went into some taboo and some risque topics there yesterday, which was very interesting, and there's room for that too.
Multi-dimensional sexual intimacy. Yeah. Sacred sexuality with dragons. No, I'm kidding. Well, I'm not. So you're from Chicago.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
And then you heard the call. You knew Jade and collaborated with him back there.
Yes.
And then you heard the call and you came down here. And you're just doing it. You just show up every day and do it. Yeah.
It takes teamwork to make the dream work.
Yeah.
It really does.
That's a good meme. Somebody steal it. Teamwork to make the dream work. Yeah. So, and I don't know, man. What do you want to talk about? You said you wanted to talk about a couple of things.
Yeah, well, number one, the Sedona experience. It seems like you're totally getting a Sedona experience.
Yeah.
With the vortexes, the energies, you're saying it's palpable. You feel it.
Absolutely. Yeah. Every time I've come here, I've had, several encounters with Anubis, the Egyptian god of death. And so much so that I carry a brass sculpture of him in my briefcase. Just a lot of different things. It's like a cosmic galactic superhighway. So, ET interactions, dimensional interactions, dark nights of the soul interactions. I remember being in Cottonwood in a little hotel that looks like the Bates Hotel from Psycho.
Okay, a little creepy. Okay.
Yeah, a little bit. And time stopped. I went to go pay for one day because that's all I could do is pay one day at a time. And my credit card went out. All the money was cleared out of my account. They took the money out of my account, yet I couldn't get credit at the hotel. I walked outside. There was a bolt of lightning and a blue sky. It was like time stopped. And I was told, don't worry. And I went back and everything was okay. And I went out that night and I walked out onto the ridge and I was about 350 feet tall. My head was in the stars, and I mean, these are the kind of experiences you have.
That's a Sedona experience for sure.
Yeah.
For sure. A lot of interesting things about time here. A lot of time loops, a lot of time diversions. Yeah. I was here for 4 hours. Next thing you know, it was only an hour. That kind of story.
That's what I mean. Yeah. Yeah. It's like there's like these anomalies occur.
That's a good word for Sedona. And Blur's Day is another word I learned here in Sedona. What day is it? It's Blur's Day.
That's from his dictionary. Yeah. Every day's Blur's Day. Right? And
but
time.
in a great way, in a very mystical, great way.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. So there's a mix here, like I've been out on the land a few times since I've been, when I've come here, not so much this time, but I did go out yesterday. I went to the stupa, and the first time I went to the stupa, this interdimensional shaman came running down the mountain, and I had this whole experience with him. And a physical being that wasn't a human being, that was like the first trip I had here. But so what I was getting at is there's these elements of like, let's just say galactic. There's like Far Eastern. There's obviously indigenous. There's inner Earth. There's elemental nature beings. To me, there's almost like an off-planet superhighway portal here, a vortex of energies.
Definitely.
Which keep you on your toes.
Definitely.
Which doesn't take any bullshit. If you've got something that you're kind of tiptoeing around in your own opportunity for personal growth, it's gonna get in your face. It's a very interesting combination. And then there's also an aspect of, let's just call it, which doesn't, I hate to even bring it up, but let's call it like the military-industrial complex or the 1% or, the Illuminati or whatever.
Yeah, that's here too. That's here too.
It's all
everywhere.
Yeah, and so, and there's a lot of history here, and there's a lot of convergence of timelines. I remember going to Airport Rock one of the times I came here and being told, get out of the car, and then go to this spot. And I went to this spot and I looked into the earth and I could see underneath it. And I could see where these children were tortured and sacrificed and molested, and this whole, ritualistic, ugliness.
It seems like that's actually come out into the mainstream news. There's a disclosure with what you're just talking about.
Yeah.
So that's pretty wild.
Yeah. Well, it's like I was talking to Sarah R. Adams, I think the last show before we headed this way, and when I was in Arkansas. And I said, where do you think humanity is? And she said, I think humanity is at the plant medicine stage, like the first time you take ayahuasca, and all your darkness comes up. Mother ayahuasca brings all your darkness up, and that's where you start. You don't, and a lot of people don't understand that about plant medicine. You don't just go in there and it's just all fluffy love and light. This is serious business. This is universal intention to nudge somebody to expand the soul. So I think that's kind of where we're at right now. I agree with her. I think we're at a place where all that needs to be revealed has to be revealed. It has to be revealed so that we can acknowledge it exists, so that we can then create unity with it no matter what it is. Because you cannot divorce yourself from any aspect of the universe, period, end of story. You can't separate yourself from God,
Well, thank goodness you're here talking about topics like this here and on your channels and things like that, because it's not out there in the mainstream, and the younger generation, they really need some guidance, some validation, and someone to say that, hey, you're not crazy. You know, we have these thoughts too, type of thing.
That's true. Yeah, we've talked about this on the show. There's a lot of the people that contribute to this this energy we call Soulogy, which can be called Vibrational Empowerment Network, can be called Holy Spirit, can be called a lot of things. But in this time, a lot of the people that come on this show have been put in a psych ward. I think all of them have been called crazy. Some have been incarcerated.
You're not crazy.
Yeah, that's right. Well, I always say this is where all the crazy people hang out, and crazy isn't crazy anymore. And a lot of people that tune in can attest to this, because now that things are getting kind of chaotic in the world, many of the people that called us crazy are now reaching out and going, hey, what's up? You know?
A shifting of the poles, or I don't know what's going on, but definitely the shift. And that's one of your key words. You always talk about the shift.
Yeah. Yeah, you know, it's funny because I got, I'm like everybody. I have, things I have to work on, things that trigger me. One of the things that triggered me last year was several prominent people. And let me just say this first, and I just hope everybody understands where I'm coming from. I question everything. I think 50% of the light worker groups, channels, platforms are psyops. But I don't hold that against anything or anyone. I just watch everything very closely because I know it's there for me to absorb the information, so then I can discern my path. But last year, for instance, a lot of people talking about the big event, where the universe is going to come in and wink its eye at us, and and we're all going to wake up and go, hey, man, we were asleep. Or the financial reset. People talking about Nasara and Jassara and bullshitata, because that's really what it is. It's just a bunch of bullshit.
There's been a lot of talk about that, but I haven't seen anything outwardly yet.
It's like a carrot on a stick, And I guess where I'm going with this is that you talk about the shift. The shift is, this is the macro is the micro, the micro is the macro. The externalization, looking for love, looking for blame, looking for opponents, looking for nirvana. It's inside of us, and I know that sounds cliche and new age-ish, but it's the truth. And I really openly admit that I've worked on this a lot, but I have I still have work to do when it comes to aligning and zero pointing people that go out there and prophesize the events coming. It baffles me how they can predict it's going to happen in April and it doesn't happen, then they move it to October and it doesn't happen, and then here we are a year later and yet they're still out there banging the drum and people blindly following them. And I'm probably getting a little radical this morning, but what I'm trying to say is that you ask about the word the shift. We are the shift, and the shift happens, it's predicated on me. I can change this entire realm myself. We could look at it another way. There's 7.7 human hybrid souls, and there's 7.7 Earths.
Wait, synchronicity? 77 is my number. That's my life number.
There
So the
you
fact
go.
that you just said that twice, to me, that was pretty awesome.
Yeah. I think one of the things that we can do is stop focusing on all these external things and start focusing on what I believe to be the most important communication you get from the universe, which is what comes out of your mouth, especially in regard to other people. They're not awake. They're stupid.
That's judgment.
They're weak. Yeah. But our projections, being conscious of our projections and owning our shit and not throwing our verbal diarrhea, as my wife says, on other people, not throwing our bullshit on other people, that's probably from a moment-by-moment experience or journey, that's probably the number one place that we can affect the collective and obviously ourselves and humanity, is by being responsible and conscious of our efforts. Get off the pity pot, okay? Your pain is no different than mine, proportionate to my life experiences, because this is not one life. And, let's, or we could say shift or get off the pot. We could say that. But I mean, I think it's, for me, I'm real simple and I've got to break things down. How can I navigate my life in simple terms rather than, because can be very complex. And for me, that's number one. Watch what you say, watch who you say it to, ask why did I say it, and start digging, and you'll find out a lot about yourself. At least I have. Yeah.
Wow. The observer influences the observed, so it's about you first.
That's the bottom line right there. Yeah, you're right. If I meet you and we have an interaction and I walk away thinking, oh, he's this, or oh, he's that, or oh, he meant this, or that's it. Whatever I'm going to project out as a kind of a final take on it is what's going to materialize. Okay? And that's it. So if I have a problem with my mother or my brother or my father or whatever the case is, and I allow this loop to keep playing, which is a loop of divisiveness, which is a loop of separation, which is a loop of blame and shame and anger and guilt, then that's what's going to exist in the field. And look, we either came here to perpetuate what's been going on for a couple 2,000, 6,000, 10,000 years, or we came to transform this in this very dense environment, which is an incredible feat. And I believe that's why we came. And I believe, and I've seen quite a bit of validation from this, from people that come on the show, that the entire universe is got us, kind of assisted us to a certain point. And now we're kind of on our own.
I feel like we get lots of help. We get lots of help,
but the training wheels are off.
Okay.
And they're looking at us, because you got to remember, what do the ETs call us? They are those who don't know their gods. Okay? So
deep.
we take this God power, we start utilizing it by engaging this instead of re-engaging this codependent frequency 3D paradigm. Our universal family is on the edge of their seat looking at us in amazement. They can't believe how fast we've come, and they don't have any idea how far we're going to take it. And that's what I picked up on, and I've seen quite a few people, credible people, come on the show and say that one way or the other. Yeah.
Speaking about the future, here we do virtual sound healing, virtual sound baths, telemedicine eventually, and that's the future. And you're part of that. The vibrations you're putting into this very microphone is sound medicine.
Yeah, I agree with that. Yeah, I really do. I'm a talker, obviously, and but I don't talk as much as I used to. Obviously, I have to talk because that's what my role is on camera. But in my private life, it's become less and less. I'm just a small representative of, let's just say, the masculine energy, which is not really an energy that is affiliated with one physical gender or another. It's just part of my role. We all have many, many purposes, and part of my role is coming from a distorted masculine energy imprinted by this patriarch that we've all been imprinted upon, which was loud and which was cocky and which was alpha male and competitive and so on and so on. And part of my role has been to strip that all down through the cooperative efforts and influence of feminine energy. And I've gotten quieter. I've seen a lot of transformations from people around the world, all different directions. We're all a piece of this incredible cosmic mosaic. This is the center of the universe, the multiverses, in my opinion. We are that. And everything that we do, everything is affecting all timelines and all dimensions and all aspects of ourselves.
Wow. Beautiful. You mentioned the power of visuals, powers of thought, and I'm totally into the power of words. The studio you help materialize just through the words, just through talking about it. Yeah. And next thing you know, we're here.
Yeah, true. Yeah. Yeah, it's interesting. We over-identify with, and this is all understandable. We chose a hell of a journey. We helped design this whole thing. So we can't really forever, power of words, keep saying they. They did this to me. They are threatening.
Victim mentality.
It's bullshit. They or me. There is no in between. You can't say to the universe, oh, 95% of the time, I'm going to apply by the unity consciousness, but this other 5%, I'm just going to, it's not me. Well, you're the one
It's all
holding
you.
up the show.
It's
Yeah.
all you.
But I was going to give you an example. A lot of times we take, so we're familiar with over-attaching to past traumas. And we're familiar with over-attaching to future obsession. When I get there, everything will be okay. And we're familiar even now with detaching or not over-identifying with, well, Jesus speaks to me, or Mother Mary speaks to you, or you channel this galactic star family, or I channel this galactic star family, or I have this ability to declare that you don't have, and so on. But one of the things that I think is coming into play now is we're starting to realize our over-attachment to our what seem to be our personal accomplishments. You know, Michael Mejia is a very humble and incredible poet, and he said, when I made this last poem, it wasn't me, it was all of these people. And I can understand that because that's how it's happened for me. But I guess what I'm getting at is, in regard to your comment about the studio, that's very accurate. I had a contemporary who built an incredible pyramid, kind of TP pyramid, but it was geometrically perfection. It was built like on 72 foundation pins, and it went up in, and it was a very powerful thing, constructed by his guidance. I went to stay there. I lived in it for 9 days by myself, and I had a lot of experiences there. And to your point, what I was told by that structure was that you created this for you, okay? And I know it in a literal sense, I didn't build it, but it goes to what you're saying about the studio. Yes, when Jade and I met, something happened. We started working together in the ethers. And then other people, you come in, Neil, Ty, Christy, there's just and here's what you get. I've been visualizing something like this from the guidance I've been receiving for probably almost 5 years. And here I walk in and he's got it all, to include getting a security system with 4 cameras.
Oh, he's a MacGyver. Jade is a MacGyver. And even with the gongs, he plays the gongs.
Yeah.
I mean, who plays the gong? People hit the gong, but he actually plays the gong, and it's not out there on the internet right now. And the sound healing, it's a revolution right now here.
Absolutely it is. Absolutely it is. Yeah. I mean, I like to ask some of these practitioners, do you ever think that the day's going to come where your client just walks in the room and you sit across from each other in silence and just let the codes do their business?
Well, you're gathering this last Sunday. There was a lot of that going on. A lot of high vibe people. A lot of just telepathy. A lot of just code exchange. Just no words exchanged. Very powerful.
Yeah. I think the sounds, colors, vibrations, resonance, tonality. I don't think it's. I think we're actually in like this infinite playground now, which is kind of merged the physical and the non-physical. So you have, say, a light language element come in over on this corner. And then on this corner, you have a contemporary conscious rapper, okay? What I'm trying to say is it's not what it used to be, and it's not what's new. It's a mixture of both. Everything we're doing, we're remixing something from the past. We're taking a piece of the Akashic, you're remixing it, and now you're creating an expanded version of it. So it's kind of like you take Jesus, you take Buddha, you put them into a mixing bowl, you pipe in a native flute, and then out comes this higher expression that contains and embodies all of what it's comprised of, but it also creates a new vibration because it's added frequencies to existing frequencies that have never been added before.
Like the event you talked about earlier, the ancient future. You're combining these ancient technologies with these future technologies, and wow, what an amalgamation of healing.
Right on. Yeah. And I think too that when we can start to look at the things that are being revealed, the things that we talked about at the top of the show, when we start to look at those things as we look at other things that have presented themselves to us that have come to us to serve the purpose of awakening code within us. Okay? That's what a past life memory is for. That's what a download or a transmission's for. That's what a communion with the divine essence is, or a visitation from a galactic star family member. It's there to awaken something in you. It's not there to get stuck on. Okay? This is whatever your experience is part of you. We're in this space to take whatever comes and mix it in the bowl, add our experience and our intention and our reverence for the infinite, and then push it out, birth it out in what some might call an artistic expression, a divine expression. These things that are coming up to be revealed, think about it. It's a parallel. It's the same thing that's happened with each one of us, and it's continuing to happen, which is all your shift and all my shift that I haven't dealt with. And it doesn't matter your fault, my fault, nobody's fault, because it's all the same thing. It doesn't matter if it's a circumstance or a consequence. It's the same damn thing. But these things had to be dealt with and have to be dealt with. So why would the collective be any different? So if as I'm dealing with my shift and my crap and my stuff and my goo and my gunk, we already know that if I want to blame it on this person or that person, it's not going to clear. So why in the hell would it work differently for the collective? Why would, as these ugly things are being revealed, why and how would it clear and align if we're continuing to assess blame from our lower vibrational perspective? We are gods and goddesses. We can tap in at a very high level. We can then embody that into our experience. We can see things for what they are. We can acknowledge their existence. We can actually thank and be in gratitude for the existence of what we're being shown. Okay? What we experienced. What exists. Doesn't mean we have to be a part of it in our experience unless we choose it. But the bottom line is, it's there to be revealed, so then that can be added to the alchemic formula, and we can create from that opportunity, that field of potential, the greatest expansion possible.
Beautiful. So one thing about the power of words, it's the weekend, right? W-E-E-K.
Right.
But it sounds just like W-E-A-K. So you want to use this as the weekend, the ending of your weakness.
Yes.
Words are everything.
There you go. That's good. I like that. You like etymology? The root
I
of
love
words?
it. I love it.
Yeah, I like that. This is the end of being weak, right? I like that. And there's so many different patterns. They're so subtle. There's so many behaviors. There's so many templates that were built in the fear-based realm, the fear-based programming, codependent frequencies, whatever you want to call it, right? Like, for instance, you show up every day, you have no expectations. You don't blame anybody if something you need's not here. You just do you, right? It's like Jade said earlier, somebody, and this happens to us a lot, people will come in and they'll say, I want to help. And he says, well, what can you do? The energy is more that I'm starting to experience is more like you, which is, hey, I'm here. I've got a camera. I've got some talent. I got some ideas. I'm going to go to work, and that's it, right? And if you produce something, you have to produce something and put something on the table before anything can grow from it. You might put something on the table and like this, You might put something on the table and it says this or looks like that, and then I might go, hey, well, what if we did this or what if we did that? That's what
the collaboration, the art of collaboration.
Yeah, that's what growth is. In the old world, you would do something because you want to achieve something. I would look at it and I would either say, oh, I don't want him to have that control, I want to change it, or I would just repress it and not say anything.
That's the old ways, yes.
Right,
Mm-hmm.
and then the resentment.
And you guys mentioned just a few minutes ago the shareable wave, which is a huge central concept of what we're doing here, the shareable wave. Are you being shareable?
Yeah. My wife is asking, what does Ty do? but you're not Ty.
Well, Ty, I can tell you
No,
about
no,
Ty.
no. She's actually wanting to know about you, and she's right.
Oh, okay.
Because he came in here like he wanted to talk about stuff. So again, this is part of Soul Speaks. It's not a Q&A. It's a conversation. So I think she's like, saying you're not doing like a normal thing, which is like what I started with. How did it start for you? And you said yoga, and then we got off on a bunch of other stuff.
Yeah.
By the way, this is Steven, also known as Esteban.
Esteban, just on Facebook.
All right. So what did yoga do? Because I've heard people talk about Reiki and how Reiki is kind of a gateway. And then I've heard a few people talk about yoga. But so were you just like bouncing around? You started doing yoga and then something happened?
Well, I definitely rebelled against the traditional old world a long time ago, before any of this. And it was just a gradual process of awakening. Like yoga was a big part of it. I went to my first yoga festival, and that just opened up a whole new world, and I've never looked back since. And now I've gone to many other transformational and musical festivals across the world, and can't look back now.
So let me ask you this question, because a lot of people who are a little fearful of the gypsy nomadic lifestyle look at someone like you and go, I could never do that. I was one of those people years ago. But how do you do it? How do you navigate the physical realm when you're outside the matrix?
Well, first of all, most people are so materialistic. Like, people need so much stuff, and they need their own room, a living room, and a bathroom, a kitchen. I mean, do you really need all that? I mean, you can really simplify your life down. And right now, I'm just traveling, living out of a van, so just keeping things very light.
Yeah.
And but I've landed here in Sedona, and definitely want to make some roots here. Very magical place.
Right on. And can you tell me about this? How did this happen? This is the Manifestors Playbook. Can you say it?
Yeah, I shared the Amazon link just now.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. Cool. So, like, and this is another thing that seems to be happening. People like yourself, people that I talk to, they download something specifically. How did this come into play? Can you tell us about it?
I mean, just like anything, step by step, I started very small. I had a basic idea, and every day I would work on the book. At one point, this was like my spouse, my girlfriend. Every day after work, my normal job, I would come home, put an hour or two into the book. And this lasted for maybe 2 or 3 years. And then materialization is the first step towards manifestation. So I would do everything I can to materialize this book. Write things out, speak it into existence. And just randomly, let's pick out something here. The number one thing you want to do in manifestation is raise your vibration. So here's a tip. True success begins the very moment we begin giving back. So, I mean, I've had so much support here with Ty, Jade, and everyone here, Serena. So it's about giving back and creating this cycle and this vortex of just creativity and manifestation.
Yeah.
And like I was saying here, Sedona, it's like manifesting on steroids here,
Right
just
on.
because of the energies and
Yeah.
and I also appreciate how you bring a lot of these guests who are maybe kind of far out in their ideas and whatnot, but you kind of bring them down to earth and make their ideas tangible for your audience.
Yeah. I've never heard it put that way. Well, but there is a lot of okay, so from normal society, how do we talk about this? There's a lot of eccentricity to individuals like us, individuals that are in the audience that will watch us in the live and the replay. But so we talked about the crazy thing. Crazy isn't crazy anymore. So what I get what you're saying. That's why I chuckled, because there's like there's like one plane of understanding as we're making this transition. So we're all over the place, and you're right. Like, to bring it to, that's why a lot of times they'll say, let me restate what you're saying.
That's exactly that. That's exactly. Translating to like everyday speak.
So people can understand that it's not, because a lot of the things that go on in the light worker circles and platforms like this is, we look at someone like Jade and go, oh my God, I can't do that. Like, he can do that and I can't do that. And we all know that there are no more pedestals. So I guess, to me, even though, as we were talking earlier, talking's going to kind of go away and give way to sound and tones and such, I still think we're in this transition, and there is a certain importance of the throat chakra to help us through it. because we're having to kind of explain it to the brain, as well as make that emerging of the higher self in the human.
Awesome.
So how long did it take you to write this thing?
About 2.5, 3 years, and then I self-published it, and it's all about the law of attraction. It's all about the law of attraction. I don't know if we mentioned the law of attraction, but that's how this is all possible. Law of attraction, vibration.
Yeah.
And
it's like a workbook.
we have it's a playbook. We have a course called Manifestor's Playbook.
Oh, on the vibrationalempowerment.net?
Yes. Yeah. And we would like to have workshops when we have the in-person events again.
Yeah.
So what's your advice to everyone out there about this potential second lockdown and the fact that our summer was closed out? Our summer was basically taken away from us this year in 2020.
What's my advice?
Yeah, what's your advice to
about a second lockdown?
I mean, potentially there's a second lockdown and about what's coming next. There's a lot of anxiety about what's coming next.
I could say something, but it's too early today. I was going to say something that starts with an F, but no, I won't do that. That's a good question. I don't know. To me, everything external is a distraction. I think we're getting to a space now, and Jade really explained this very well a while ago. So we're in this space now, and we have all this awareness and data and code, enough. It's not saying it's all been opened up to us, but enough has, right? That we can start to focus on what we are, which is gods and goddesses, creators. Creating new things, not living
co-creations.
Yeah, so if you're doing that, there's nothing outside your field that can penetrate your aura, your experience.
When you say field, what does that mean to people?
That means, they talk about, for instance, like we're not just what we look like. We're a field. We go higher, we go lower, we go forward, we go back.
Is that the Merkaba you're talking about?
It could be the Merkaba or just our field of consciousness or experience or whatever you want to call it. So, for instance, let's say that on the other side of my field is the quarantine, the second quarantine. Or on the other side of my field is some nefarious archon trying to get to me. Or on the other side of my field is my wicked mother-in-law, So I can either go out of my field and try to engage that energy to change it, which is also another way to say that. I can go outside of my field and blame it, or fight it. Or I can stay in my field, focus on my manifestation abilities, my co-creation, which requires me to come into a higher and higher and higher attunement, the no bullshit zone. So the universe respects that. As I change, like a tuning fork, then that which is outside of my field will have to change too to stay with me, or it'll fall away. Okay, so I think anything, whether you want to talk about mask, quarantine, COVID, Trump, Q, Clinton, Democrats, BLM,
a lot of that's distractions.
It's all distraction. Even look, I'm in a very, very unique divine relationship, and we have to do the same thing. She's an individual with her field. I'm an individual with my field.
Spiritual partnerships, yes.
Yeah, but these are two separate fields. Now we create another one together, so it's the same thing. An individual contends with those exterior elements. The couple contends with those exterior elements. But sometimes, in the case of the individual, this individual, which is part of this couple, I'm over here outside of her field. So it's the same thing. If she elevates and I don't, I'll fall away.
That can't be good, yeah.
Yeah, well, it's just the way it is. But so I think what Jade was saying earlier, we start focusing on like what you do every day. You come in here every day, you get to work, you're making stuff happen. Next thing you know, your friend starts howling like an Indian chief.
That was beautiful.
Yeah, but you know what I mean? It's a good thing. I'm making a joke about it. But so if you're doing that, you can't even think about that other stuff. The more you think about that other stuff, the more it's going to be part of your experience and in your field. Okay, so to me, it's like the best defense is a good offense. So why do I need to be on the defensive out here when I can just go on the offense and start creating? Because the more light that I blast, the bigger my field gets, and then I start to alter those things.
When you blast that light, sometimes darkness disappears when you blast that light.
Absolutely, it falls away, or it integrates with you. You know, I remember going to Georgia in 2018. I thought we were going to set some roots. I rented a basement of a house. It had not been touched. There were rats. There were mosquitoes. There were dark entities. There had been some bad stuff happening. So I started cleaning it out. I had to merge with the rats. I had to merge with the flies. There were flies, not mosquitoes. I had to, and then as I kept cleaning, I had to merge with any energy I came across.
Sometimes you say stuff that's so deep, I have to just take a second and just be like, wow, merge with the, okay.
I did. I merged with the consciousness of the rats and said, look, I don't want to kill you. I want to coexist with you. This is my space. You got plenty of room out there. So that's how I took that. But what I was going to say is when I got to the end of it, there was one corner, and I saw or felt, because my clair typically is more feeling, I felt this very dark entity.
Yeah, I'm definitely more the feeling type of thing too, yeah.
Yeah. So in that moment, I put my arms out to the side, and I opened my heart, and I invited him in complete faith. Now that's a very vulnerable thing to do, okay?
Wow.
But at the same time, it's an expression of power, as I understand it in my own journey now. Because you either trust the universe or you don't. And you can only trust the universe as much as you trust yourself. You can only love the universe as much as you love yourself.
Taking that leap of faith is a big thing, and I think that's what you're talking about. Taking
That's
that
it.
leap
And
of faith.
every day we're being presented these things. Every day we're being asked to go from our comfort zone into the dark abyss that is the holy darkness where new creations are born. And that's how this stuff like this happens.
And my one message today is the comfort zone. Get out of your comfort zone. You have to get out of your comfort zone. Growth only occurs when you're outside of your comfort zone. So if you remember one thing, get out of your comfort zone.
There you go. What else you want to do?
Well, that was cool. I would like to listen to you guys jam again. That was awesome.
Oh, we can do that. If y'all want to do that. I don't know. Maybe we ought to just take a break.
Yeah, let's take a break. That was awesome.
Yeah, I want to just say one thing real quick. Okay. So we're going to be, Soulogy's going to be back and forth. We're going to come back this afternoon and probably put another hour and a half broadcasting here. And but I'm going to go from here to I'm going to butcher this word, Wopili. The Wopili conference that's being put on by Tolik and some of his crew is running from today at 2 o'clock through Sunday, 6 p.m. There's a lot of great speakers there, a lot of people from the Sedona area, a lot of Native American presence, presenters, dancers, performers. There's still a few tickets left. They are going to be available at the door. When I talked to him last night, there was about 7 or 8 tickets left.
Okay, so if you're in Sedona.
Yeah. It's off Dry Creek Road, north of West Sedona, and he will take cash there as well. But I just want to tell you that because it's not going to be a big event. I feel like I have to mention that. He's one of the collaborators as well. He's actually one of the reasons I'm sitting here today. Because
we're grateful for that.
That's why I was coming, was to assist. So we're going to be streaming some people from there, and I'm going to be speaking Sunday at 4:20, and we'll stream that from there too. So yeah, I just want to let everybody know that if you're in Sedona and you were looking for something to do this weekend, it's a worthwhile conference. We're going to continue to broadcast here. I'm looking forward to making some more music and stuff like that. You want to shut us down?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, so peace out, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us. We'll see you a little bit later this afternoon. I'll be streaming from that conference, and then also we'll be coming back here to do some broadcasting. Peace out.